Ilia Topuria is fighting Arman Tsarukyan. And yes, I am telling you that. Ilia is playing you. He's going to fight Tsarukyan next. Do you need more detail? Do I need to get into T-Mobile in December? Let's call it here.
What's up, you guys? Teddy Striker here, and it seems like Ilia Topuria is going to fight again in December, and the question is, who should he fight next? And Chael has said that he's apparently going to fight Arman in December. And Chael, just to give you guys a brief history, he's a bit of an here and there, like hit or miss kind of guy when it comes to announcing fights, because he did announce Dustin Poirier versus Max Holloway 3 for the BMF title that was happening in July, and he announced it in April.
In your opinion, Chael, will be what after UFC 314?
I think people are going to be making an argument for the next opponent for Paddy the Baddy. Not to mention, 155 only has one piece of clarity, which is that Dustin and Max are matched up. After that, we don't have anybody for Tsarukyan to fight. We don't have anybody for Ilia Topuria.
But he also said that Islam Makhachev would be fighting Justin Gaethje at International Fight Week.
I have been informed that Islam Makhachev will defend his championship against Justin Gaethje. International Fight Weekend. Then brings you to Dustin Poirier, who is excluded because he's on a retirement fight. Not to mention he's fighting Max. Paddy is the next best thing, but he needs one more. You're left with Justin Gaethje. All of that is accurate. If the source, who has never been wrong yet, to me, is right.
And also, Chael did say that Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall was going to happen, but then obviously we know what happened. But I believe that he was a little bit right, because Dana White even confirmed that Jon Jones did actually agree to fight Tom Aspinall at one point, but then something went wrong and the negotiations fell through, and that fight ultimately didn't happen. But I do feel like Chael is a relatively credible source, so I'm gonna take him at his word here. Like, I don't see why he would say Arman would be fighting Ilia if that wasn't happening. I feel like he's the type of guy to put over guys like Paddy Pimblett or Justin Gaethje, who he seems to like more than a guy like Arman Tsarukyan. So I feel like there's some credibility there, but I feel like it's definitely not going to be Paddy Pimblett. He's currently ranked number 9 in the rankings. I feel like he needs one more win, and the UFC feels that way too. Dana wasn't really pleased with him entering the cage when Ilia knocked out Oliveira, so it doesn't really feel like the UFC is going that way. Then the problem with Justin Gaethje is the fact that the guy who had knocked him out has now got a win in the lightweight division, and he's ranked above him. And he has wins over Charles Oliveira and Dustin Poirier, who are guys who actually beat and finished Justin Gaethje. So that just leaves Arman Tsarukyan, who should be fighting for the title next. And now some people might be saying, well, the Paddy Pimblett fight will be a lot bigger because nobody really knows or cares about Arman Tsarukyan. And some people might say the same thing about Justin Gaethje because Gaethje's a bigger star than Arman Tsarukyan. But actually, I'm not sure about that. And people are saying Arman's not really drawing any attention to himself. He's not really talking. But I feel like that's just clearly false. And the only one that's actually promoting anything in the lightweight division is actually Arman Tsarukyan. He's actively calling out Ilia Topuria, and he's getting a lot of attention, a lot more than what Paddy Pimblett is doing. And Justin Gaethje's not doing anything. All Gaethje's saying is, well, if I don't get the title shot, I'm going to retire. I mean, no one really cares, or no one really wants to hear that. We want to see you calling out Ilia Topuria, saying you're going to knock him out, saying you're going to destroy him, so we can get interest in a potential fight. So not only is the fight with Arman Tsarukyan a lot more interesting than people are saying, based on public interest, but also in terms of the fight-wise, like, that is the most competitive fight. So let's take a look at some numbers. Firstly, we'll look at the striking defense of all these guys, because that is the biggest problem that Ilia is going to present to any of them. It's his striking and his striking power that will make the biggest difference. So firstly, Arman Tsarukyan has very solid striking defense at 54%. He defends slightly more than half of the strikes that come his way. And now let's take a look at Justin Gaethje first. His defense is at 52%, slightly lower than Arman, but he does spend a lot more time striking on the feet. But Arman still trumps him in this category. Now let's take a look at Paddy. Paddy is known for his bad defense, and it shows. He's got 42%. That is 10% lower than Justin Gaethje, who's known for getting hit a lot. So that says a lot about Paddy. So Arman clearly trumps both these guys in this category. Now let's move on to the strikes absorbed per minute and the strikes they land per minute. right away we can see Arman, he does do a good job of landing a lot more strikes than he lands. And he doesn't absorb that many strikes per minute, but that's because he does spend a lot of time grappling. Now, compare that to Justin Gaethje. He actually has a negative striking differential. He gets hit slightly more than he hits his opponents, and it's pretty high up there. He absorbs 7 strikes per minute compared to Arman is about like 2 strikes per minute, which is, we gotta understand that Gaethje does spend a lot more time striking than Arman. He doesn't grapple, but that is going to be a factor when he goes up against Ilia Topuria, and Gaethje's already now known for having the best chin. So now you're going to be getting hit more than you're hitting Topuria, and you're going to be striking primarily. Like, that is going to be a recipe for disaster for Justin Gaethje. Then we move on to Paddy, who is actually really similar to Arman. They've both got about the same amount of striking differential, about a 2.05 differential. They land 2.05 strikes more than their opponents, which is pretty impressive, and it's not negative like Justin Gaethje. And now Arman does have slightly lower striking accuracy than Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett, but in terms of his takedowns, he does have higher accuracy than Paddy Pimblett, which is going to be significant in this fight, considering that they're both going to be looking to take Ilia Topuria down to the ground and start to control him and do some damage from there instead of just striking, which is what Justin Gaethje is going to be doing. So overall, based on the numbers alone, I feel like this is the fight to make. Arman Tsarukyan versus Ilia Topuria. Arman is the only one promoting this fight. He's actively calling for it. He's talking trash about Ilia. He's the best fighter outside of Ilia in the lightweight division. He deserves it. I think the UFC should do the right thing and give him his title shot. Hopefully Chael Sonnen is right about this. Hopefully we see this fight in December. But let me know your thoughts down below. Do you think this is going to happen? And if so, who do you got winning? Right now, I think Ilia Topuria is going to stop Arman Tsarukyan in the 3rd round. But thank you guys for watching. God bless, and I'll see you in the next one.